Hi everybody. Okay, I am going to show you how I clean soft fired greenware. This is going to be on the S325 Lilianne head. Now I have a tub of water soaking here and she's been in there for about 10 minutes now and her ears haven't exploded off, so I think I'm good. She still has 2 ears. Now, one thing I want you to notice, I think you'll be able to see it in the video. There's like some black streaks right in here and on the top of her forehead. Okay, those mean nothing. They're just something that shows up in the soft fire, and when it's fired to bisque, they will all go away. So do not try and clean them off. When I start to clean here, if they don't come off, I'm not going to worry about them because they're going to fire off. Otherwise, you can sit here and rub a hole through your entire piece, messing around trying to take those off. So those like black smudges have nothing to do with anything. So, okay, now this head has almost no seam. There's very little seam line here. So normally if it had a thicker seam line, I would need to take my X-Acto knife and peel that seam line off, but I do not need to do that for this head because there just isn't any seam line there. There's just this little tiny minute thing that I can feel right there. So I'm going to skip straight to the, these were always called the pink wet scrubbers, and they are no longer available, so you need to find them on the secondary market. They have not been available for purchase for about 10 years now. So you need to find somebody that's selling these either on eBay or some for sale site or something. But otherwise, you can get by without these, but I have mine, so I'm going to use it. The one side is kind of a pink sandpaper, real light sandpapery side. The other side is just a plain like white vinyl, which the vinyl surgical glove I have on will do the same thing. If I didn't have these, I could do the same thing with the glove. Okay, so I had fired this head to cone 019, and now I've had it soaking for, probably about 15 minutes. It doesn't matter how long you put it in the water. It'll last for days in there. The water will just get stinky on you. But, let it soak at least a good 15 minutes or something. Okay, so I'm going to start by dipping my wet scrubber in the water, and then I'm going to start rubbing the seam off here. Oh, by the way, I was going to show you the tools I had laid out here. So it's the wet scrubber. I have my S325 multi-purpose blender from Sealy's. This was the same one that I used when I was cutting out the eyes. I also use this one for cleaning soft fire greenware. And then there is the lady finger tool that I will run through the ears to make sure my earring holes aren't plugged up. And then I have the end off of, I believe this was just an old makeup brush, but you want something really light. It's wet, so it's not fluffing out all over the place. But otherwise, it's a really floppy, like makeup brush that I'm going to use to rinse the paste off. Okay, and this is minus its handle. Otherwise, it'd normally have a handle. Okay, so that's the only tools I need is just those 4 and the tub of water here. Okay, let me get my glasses off and my optivisor on so I can see what I'm doing here. So I'm going to start by taking the vinyl side, the white side of my pink wet scrubber, and I'm going to go over that area where the seam line is, even though there's barely a seam line. So I'm just making little circular motions. The head is wet, but not sopping wet. What I'm doing is dipping the scrubber in the water, and so I'm just adding enough water from the scrubber on here, and that makes my head wet enough that I can work with it. Okay, so then the seam line went all the way across the top of the head here. Okay, so that pretty well took the seam line off. I'll go back over this side one more time. Now I don't want to use this on the ears. It's liable to take too much detail off. So I'm just going to go over the ears with the stain cleaning brush, it's called. Well, multi-purpose blender. Used to be called stain cleaning brush. Okay, now remember this S325 Lilianne, this was the one that had the applied ears that were poured separately in the mold, and I showed you a video of Denny applying the ears. Then I showed you a video on cutting the eyes out. And so now I'm showing you the Sapphire Greenware cleaning. So, but remember when these ears were applied, I did a lot of cleaning around the ears in the wet Greenware stage. So there's really not a lot that needs to be done here right now. I mean, it is pretty clean around the ears. And I'm just very happy they didn't explode off in the water, because applied ears can, they just pop right off, make a really loud noise, and I have had them shoot all the way across the room. So these must be good. I've never had one blow off in the kiln. It always does it in the water after it's been soft fired. So hopefully these will make it all the way through the bisque fire stage. Okay, so I've pretty well gotten all the way around both ears. Now the eyes are pretty, I mean, they are like 99% done here. I'm just going to clean a little bit around the eye area with the brush. Just making sure everything's totally smooth. And then I'm going to go around the features of the mouth and the nose. Okay, now here's where I'm going to start the general all over cleaning. Now I'm going to do this with the vinyl glove. So I'm just going to dip my fingertips in the water. So I've got some water on my glove. And then I'm going to start cleaning this head in circular motions. Make sure the glove is pulled tight so you don't have wrinkles in the fingers, because otherwise that can leave scratches on your piece. So make sure your glove fits tightly. So now I'm basically going to go over the entire head with the glove. And remember, I am not worrying about those black streaks that are on there. Has absolutely nothing to do with anything, and they will all fire away. Okay, if my porcelain starts to dry out too much, my fingers won't slide anymore. So then I will add just a little bit of water onto my fingertips and then re-wet the head again. I want it to just be wet enough that my fingers are gliding across the porcelain, creating like a paste on here. And it's actually the rubbing of this paste that is cleaning the face. But I always do some of the work in the Greenware stage with the Tibbs brushes, and then I finish off with the soft fired stage and finish cleaning it with the glove, just like I'm showing you here. So I'm getting all over both cheeks, the forehead, the eye area, the neck. I've already gone over the mouth and the nose, so I'm just kind of hitting the high points here. Okay, I need to do this cheek some more. Okay, now I'm going to go over the back of the head. Top of the head. Basically want to make sure I'm going over the entire thing. Don't want to take too much back here and take my name off though, so be careful of where you've incised it. Okay, now I am thinking this head probably looks pretty good, but the only way I will know for sure is when I get totally done here. Okay, now I have the tub of water here, but this isn't going to, I'm not going to be able to finish it this way. I have a sink upstairs here in my classroom, and so I will actually take this over to the sink, run this under the running water while I'm using this brush, because I want to make sure I'm removing all of that paste that's on there. So I'm going to hold this under the running water at the sink and totally rinse it. Make sure I'm removing all of this paste and dust, and you know, it's wet, so it's paste, it's not dust. And make sure I'm removing all of that. Then I will set it off to the side, let it dry a few minutes until the surface water dissipates, and then I can hold it underneath the optivisor or a magnifying glass and look at it really closely, checking for imperfections before I put it in the kiln. So even though I can't take the camera over to the sink, I see my brush is shedding hairs here. Can't take the camera over to the sink. I'll just get a little bit of this off. Okay, so then I'd let the surface water dry and really check it over good with the magnifier, and then it's ready to go in the kiln. And that's all I need to do to that head, because the rest of it was all done in the Greenware stage. Okay, then I want to go ahead and get this done. This is that shoulder plate for the doll's part resin body. Okay, I haven't soaked this yet. Now this is the first one of these I have done. So here's one in Greenware that I still have sitting here. And see how thick this ledge is right here? This one right here has not been soft fired yet, so it cleans very easily. But I'm going to take, and before I soft fired it, I thinned down these edges so it would fit a little better onto the body. See how this one is much thinner? Let me see if I can hold the two of these side by side. This one has been soft fired and I've gone over. This one I haven't. Can you see that extra thickness there? I'm trying to take off so it will fit snugly on the body. Okay, Now let me just get this in the water and let it soak just a little bit here for a second or two. It's not going to take much at all to clean this shoulder plate, because it basically has no seam lines on it, and I've already gone over it in the Greenware stage. I've taken off all the extra thickness. So all I really need to do, now make sure you're supporting both sides of the shoulder plate and you're not pushing in and scrunching it, because it'll either break on you, or when you fire it, it will get a stress crack because you might have squeezed it without even knowing you squeezed it. So be extremely careful when you're working with these smaller shoulder plates like this. Well, with any shoulder plate. They're hollow and they will break very easily. And especially this one that I've got thinned down quite a bit, trying to get it to fit on that resin body. Okay, but yeah, that's about all it takes on this shoulder plate, because there really wasn't any seam line in the first place. And I've already smoothed everything out in the Greenware stage. So I think I am done with this. Okay, so the same way with that, I will take it, run it under the running water in my sink, use the brush to brush off everything, and then I will set it aside and check it before it goes in the kiln. Now I will explain about kiln firings in bisque firings in another video. So I'm just going to tell you right now, I'm going to fire it to a cone 6 bisque fire, and this will be ready hopefully for the wash tomorrow for tomorrow's class. So okay, that is it for soft fire Greenware cleaning. So hope that helped you out. And you understand it a little bit better. I will be doing a couple more videos on the soft fire. I've still got the Lady Grace head to clean, and I've got the FG head. So I do have some other heads here that I'll be cleaning and putting videos up for them. So, okay, that is all. I will see you all soon. Bye, everybody.